Hello and welcome to another episode. We're your hosts, Shawn Calhoun, and
Christina Calhoun.
that's right. And we want to thank you all for checking us out. Today, we're going to be talking about an interesting subject. Again, it's a little touchy, but we got to go there, right? It happens. It's real. So let's get right into it. Actually, let's not get right into it. Listen, if you guys want to reach out to us, it's really easy. Our handle on Facebook, Instagram is Shawn Christina Calhoun, and that's SHAWN, Christina with a C, CHRISTINA, Calhoun. And otherwise, you can go to prettyhm.com, phone numbers, everything there. You can search properties, all of that good stuff. Okay? All right, so now my ring is spinning around. Losing weight. Hey. All that power walking.
What a great problem.
Yeah. So anyway, today we are talking about two things, but they kind of combine for one main thing. And we're talking about how to have a loyal client. And specifically, we're talking about a home buyer client. Okay. So how can you have a home buyer client? And the other thing is going to be the secret. We're going to tell you what happens when you click.
If you're a buyer.
If you're a buyer.
And you're looking on Zillow.
Yeah. I mean, or if you're an agent, you probably know if you're an agent. You might know. But if you don't, what happens if let's say when a buyer goes on to look for a house? Okay, this is cool stuff. We're gonna give you the real deal behind the scene. So let's get to it. All right, the first thing that you need to consider, okay, is where do people find homes? You know, back in the day, people used to go to real estate brokerages and say, "Let me see a book" or something like that to see houses. All of that is out. Like if you were born in the last 10 to 20 years, that is out.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. People are not going into, people go right online, right? You can go to Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, prettyhm.com. You can go to these sites. Realtor.com, right? And you can see properties that are for sale. Now, of course, it is the internet. Everything that says is for sale isn't necessarily for sale. That's just how it is. So, but for the most part, even with that being the case, that's where people go to look for real estate. Okay. So let's just say we know that that's the case. So instead of with knowing that, we have to know that things have changed. If a person is wanting to get a house, that's what they want. So as an agent, there's something that they need to realize. What do agents need to realize when it comes to buyers searching online?
They don't want you. They just want the house.
That's it. They don't want you. They don't want me.
The issue also is they don't know that they need you as a real estate professional. They just think we give them access to the house and that's it.
That's right. That's absolutely right. They do not know that. So they don't want us. Okay. I'm saying they don't want you, but I want you to really know and really comprehend that. They don't want us. Okay. They just want a house. And if you understand that, now you can start to see from the buyer's perspective. Are they really not loyal? Or do they really not know that they may even benefit or need us? Mm-hmm. All right. So that's one thing that you want to consider first and foremost, the transition of how it happens. How does it happen? Okay. Let's just ask a quick question. If you needed to get a new car, right? How does that whole transition happen? The thought comes in your head. Maybe you hear a noise or sound on your car, right?
And you're tired of sinking money into it.
I'm not putting another dime into this car, right? So now you say, okay, well, I want another car, but I don't know what I want. You start researching other cars. Then you start getting it down to, okay, well, maybe this brand makes good cars, or I want an SUV next time. So now you're looking at SUVs. Then you get into what color, what model. And at this time, you're doing all of this research. Where are you probably doing it at?
The internet.
The internet, online, right? So that's where the search goes. You started from just the thought, and then you get to the end point. Well, it's the same thing with the home. Okay, you could be having a baby or a family or getting married or downsizing, upsizing, whatever the case may be. The thought comes into your head, and then people start searching online on these websites that we mentioned. So if they click that they are interested or they want more information, a buyer could be anywhere on that cycle of the thought just coming into their head or I'm ready. Okay. So that's another thing that you and I as agents need to consider. And then also as a consumer, just to know on the other side. So um, there's something that we do to help us to that also benefits the consumer. Okay. But before we get to that, let's talk about what happens. Let's just go with Zillow. All right. What happens on Zillow when a prospective buyer clicks for more information?
A lot of times they seem to think that they're reaching out to the listing agent,
Mm-hmm.
the one who was hired to market and sell that property.
Right. So when you click, more than likely, you're not reaching out to that listing agent. Okay, so what actually happens? Tell me what actually happens.
Well, if there's an agent that works with buyers in that location, they set up the marketing so that they receive those clicks.
Okay, so that's really key. So wait a minute, you said an agent that works with buyers.
Yes.
When you click for that information, it goes to
them.
That agent. Right. Okay. Right. Okay.
So their perception is that they're contacting the listing agent.
Okay.
But that's not necessarily in the buyer's best interest.
Why? Why is that?
Because sometimes they think that they'll get a better deal if they directly work with the listing agent, but the listing agent does not represent them.
What does that mean? They don't represent. Well, the listing agent doesn't represent the buyer. Right. What does that mean? Now, this is a real education.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So that means the listing agent was hired by the seller to have the seller's best interest in the transaction and to keep all their information confidential.
So let's not talk realtor talk. What is all this best interest? Like, what does that really mean? I'm a third grader. Okay, I shouldn't be sucking my thumb as a third grader. I'm a third grader. What does this mean?
That means that they're going to get the seller the most money for the house, and
they are under contract with the seller. They have, I'm going to use a big word, a fiduciary duty. That just means they're under contract. They're in a legal binding contract to get the most money possible for the seller. And like you just mentioned, not to
represent a buyer,
disclose information about the seller that could give the buyer a good deal. Hey. Yeah. So in actuality, these portals like Zillow and things like that are actually kind of protecting the consumer because they're getting a buyer's agent instead of actually the listed agent. And we list a lot of properties. Okay, we work with buyers on sometimes, and we also work with sellers. But you need to know, well, if you're a consumer watching this, that when you click that, you're not more than likely not talking to the listing agent. And also, the listing agent is in a contract with the seller.
Yes.
Okay.
And think about it. This is potentially the biggest investment you may ever make, buying a house.
Yeah.
So wouldn't you want to be represented by someone that has your best interests in mind?
Right.
Who's going to negotiate in a way that it works best for you, not for the person selling the house?
Right. And so a lot of people don't know that. So, just not to bore you, it used to be different, but they split agency into buyers and sellers agent. So it used to be just agency, but now it's split into buyer and seller agents. And so now, most consumers don't really know that. So again, if you're going to spend, 300,000, 600,000, 100,000. If I'm spending $1,000, I want someone to
who's working for you,
to work for me in my best interest. So that's a hint there too. So this is really good. They click on Zillow, a buyer's agent that has their best interest is going to you can either click to call them, or they'll either call you back or text you or whatever the case is. So that's what happens there. But now a lot of consumers, they think that, again, it's the listing agent. So for this particular home, they'll click and try to see that home. And so an agent shows up and shows them the home, and they're like, I don't like it. And then they ghost that agent, and then, they go back on Zillow and they see another house, and they click there and they try to get somebody to show them that house. And then they click on another one, and oh man, that one's gone.
And they got all these appointments all over town with different agents.
Right, and then no one can show you that quick, either. Like, a lot of agents have schedules and lives and things like that, and so you end up missing, like, maybe your dream home, this nice big investment, even though you're working with buyers. So that's just what happens. Okay, so let's flip back to the agent side. So as an agent, you need to understand that that's what happens. They're clicking, they're going to different agents, and that kind of thing. It's not really in their best interest, unless you're a bum agent, right? I mean, so really it's not in their best interest to miss out on houses like that, just clicking, and getting frustrated with the whole thing. So as an agent, what can you do knowing that this is the situation? Well, one thing that we do, and one thing that we train our agents to do, and we were reminded of this. It was so pleasant to hear this. We were reminded by an agent on our team. They asked me a question because we were telling them about a particular person who was interested in seeing a home. And she asked us a question. She said, have they signed a loyalty agreement with us? And I said, no, they haven't signed a loyalty agreement yet. We just spoke, and they seemed really nice, blah, blah, blah. Gave them the qualifications that they had, motivated, financially qualified, and then loyalty. That's the third one. So to get that loyalty agreement. And what that agreement actually says is that we're going to be loyal to this person that's going, we're going to work for them in their best interest to help them get the best possible property at the lowest price possible. Okay? Because that's what we do. We know how to negotiate. Okay? We understand this. So we have a loyalty agreement that this is what we're going to do with this if you
want to work with us.
So, if we're a good fit, if you think you want to give us a try, work together, let's do it. And so we have a loyalty agreement, and most people are really happy because especially if they've already saw some homes and, they're a little frustrated, this is a breath of fresh air for them. Now, if they are just wanting to look at a house and it's the first house they saw and they're really not ready to buy, they normally tend to not want to sign a loyalty agreement because they know they're not going to be buying in that time frame. And that's okay too. We just have to really do our jobs, which is to support them, along their journey. So the buyer loyalty agreement is strong. And this isn't some binding contract that they have to work with us, whether we're terrible or not or whatever. Like, we do a good job, and if we don't, you can fire us. That's the loyalty agreement. And and it works both ways. We can mutually part, basically. So that's what we do, and that helps. Now, again, like Christina mentioned earlier, isn't it nice? Think about if you're an agent, isn't it nice to be able to offer them something like that to educate them? Are you the listing agent? Fortunately for you, I'm not the listing agent because the listing agent is under contract to get the highest price possible for this property. But my job is to help you get the best property. Hopefully it's this one if you like it. If not, I'll help you find the right property for you. Okay? And how does that sound? Sounds good. All right, let's check this out and we'll go from there. Right? So that's kind of what we do. Okay? So was there anything else?
And then, so you're just meeting basically a stranger for the first time. So building trust with them is a must. So how can you do that? Well, you're looking at a house. You don't want to just make everything look so great if it's not. If you see
Tell the truth.
If you see evidence of like a problem, you need to show it to them. Like, oh, this is something you would want to get inspected. You don't want to just make everything look like it's perfect for the sale.
Right.
Because that's not in their best interest. So if you do notice something, if a floor is uneven or you can see a leak, you don't want to just gloss over it or try to hide it or not point it out. That builds trust because they can tell that you're not just saying what's good about the property and pretending like everything's great.
That's right. That's right.
And that helps build that trust.
That's right. So you definitely want to build the trust. But however, when you are bringing these things out, you have to remember, again, like Christina said, you don't really know that person yet. So when you bring it out, don't jump to a conclusion that, hey, we need to look at another house because this one's not for you.
No.
You don't know what skills they have. You don't know what family members or connections they have. And you brought it out before on another episode how we had a client, her brother was a roofer. We showed the house. We were like, hey, this roof is shot. We did bring it out, but it wasn't a game changer. We were able to negotiate a good deal for her on it, negotiate the price down, and she was able to get a new roof on there at a fraction of the price because she had those connections.
She knew someone in the business.
Yeah.
And the reality is most problems in a home can be fixed.
Right.
So if your budget doesn't allow you to look at a perfect house, new construction, most problems can be fixed.
That's right. That's right. So again, let's just do a quick recap. We know what happens now when someone goes on Zillow. Okay? When they go on Zillow, they could be anywhere from 1 to 10 in from just being an idea 1 to 10, I'm ready to see this home and put in an offer today if it's the right one. So it could be anywhere in there. That's one thing to remember. When they click, more than likely they think it's the listing agent. Sometimes they really don't care, but they probably think it's the listing agent. Then the other thing is you have to bring value and educate them on the value you bring and offer a loyalty agreement.
Mm-hmm.
You want the job. I want the job of helping you accomplish your real estate goals. If it's a good fit, let's give it a try. So that's it.
That's it.
All right. Well, we hope you've enjoyed it. We hope you've got some real value from this. If you have, please like it, give us a thumbs up or comment. And again, I guess we'll see you on the next episode.